Alrighty, folks, another night, another Mets W. How's it going, Mets and overall baseball fans? I just fixed the audio. Don't worry. I know that I've had an issue with that. How's it going, Mets fans? We are breaking down another Metropolitan victory. They're 6-1 through their first 7 games here on the road out west as they defeat the San Francisco Giants tonight in a game 1 of a 4-game set by a final score of 9-4. The offense was there once again for this Mets team, led by, you guessed it, the reigning champ right now in home runs with 9 already in the month of April, Pete Alonso. Then everyone else, a full team contribution with this offense. Once again, the pitching, Kodai Senga was strong early, then got a little roughed up, tagged up there in the 5th. We'll get into breaking down innings 1 through 9, everything that transpired in the ballgame, all the highlights as you see here on the screen. We'll be getting into the hitting, pitching statistics, all that fun stuff. The partner on the channel for tonight's show, and who is the player of the game. But more than anything, what I need to ask you guys, everyone watching live or on replay, make sure to spam those W's. It is greatly appreciated. How's it going, all you beautiful people? To everyone on the East Coast that's chiming in late night here, I greatly appreciate it. Again, for people on replay, whenever you're watching this, day, night, evening, the same applies. Thank you all so much for being in here. What a big night. Another big Metropolitan W against the former Mets and Michael Conforto, J.D. Davis, Wilmer Flores, and I'm sure tomorrow with Joey Flacco on the bump, we're going to see Darren Ruff. So with our luck, Ruff's going to hit a bomb. It's inevitably happening, right? But a good start for this Mets series in San Fran. Again, after we hear the news that, yes, Max Scherzer has been suspended 10 games, and he is not appealing because, according to him, after initially fully ready to appeal, and that would mean that he wouldn't be suspended for at least a couple of weeks throughout the appeal process. Max did come out and say that I'm not appealing because I found out that the arbiter is not going to be even keeled, is going to be strictly the MLB's arbiter, so there's no point in even trying to appeal. Of course, for the people that aren't aware, Mad Max is one of the heads that we have seen in recent years, really a huge proponent of the MLB Players Union. So when you see the debates and the conversations going on constantly, with Max being animated in meetings leading up to during the lockout and the lockout's conclusion, I'm not shocked that Max is really not going to sit here and say, I'm not wasting any time with an arbiter when I know it's not going to get anywhere because this arbiter is not going to be on my side from the beginning. There's going to be a bias. So Max is serving this 10-game suspension. He will miss 2 starts, and thankfully those 2 starts only have him missing the remainder of the Giants series and the Nationals series. So yes, it sucks that the Mets roster is thin right now. They will be losing a roster spot for the next 10 games that start tonight. However, he is lined up to return May 1st against the Atlanta Braves. So thankfully, it could be a much worse scenario. So Max, he's serving now, getting it over with. It's still nonsense. Phil Cuzzy is still a schmuck, and I'll stand by that. But that is aside right now. Let's talk about this ball game. Unrelated question. Thick D Pete laid the wood. Yes, he did. Appreciate that donation. Appreciate all you guys chiming in. I see James, great member on the channel. Patty, Kevin, how you doing? Let's see, going down the list further, if there's any other members I'm noticing that I haven't shouted out yet. SR, all you guys on my new and reoccurring viewers, thank you guys all so much for being in here. And thank you so much, Slants. I appreciate the kind words. I feel like I haven't seen you in a minute, Slants. So if you've been chiming in and I missed you, I apologize, but happy to have you in here. And again, guys, let's break down this Mets victory. This was an awesome ball game tonight. Again, you got a nice, good taste of Mets offense. And even when it became a 1-run ball game, it didn't take this Metropolitan team long to come out and get themselves another 5-run deficit in their favor. That is what you like to see. So with that being said, without further ado, again, guys, make sure to smash that like and subscribe button if you're chiming in. If you guys enjoy consistent Mets content like this, post-game shows basically after every Metropolitan game throughout the 162, this is the place to be. Podcasts after every series with former Met Anthony Recker and my man Joe Serrao. Make sure you're chiming in here to WardyNYM, the #1 post-game show covering the Mets here on YouTube, and the #1 Mets-centric YouTube channel not directly affiliated with SNY or the Mets, even though that I am now doing stuff on the side with SNY, which I'm very grateful of. Shout out all you guys that chimed into the first ever live show, a Mets Off Day Live with myself, Michelle Margot, and Will Salmon were there for episode 1. Had an absolute blast. But let's talk about this Mets ball game now. I really just want to get into it, break it down. It won't be a terribly long show tonight. If you can't tell, I got a little bit bags under my eyes. I'm exhausted today. I was actually playing some baseball for fun with my buddy earlier today, and we got gassed quick because, when you're sitting a chair every day like me, you're an out of shape schmuck. So it felt nice to swing the bat, do some catch. But both him and I alike were really gassed afterwards. So I'm absolutely distraught. I'm tired, but I'm excited to break down this Mets ball game. So Kevin, now I get to watch the West Coast games bonus. That is a bonus of being retired. I love hearing that. But what I love hearing even more is the Mets coming out with a 9-4 victory as GD with the dono says Nito's gotta go. Yeah, Tomas Nito has been anything but good to start the season, and I think the bigger issue with Nito is not only his lack of offensive ability, it's the fact that he's not even framing well to start the year either. I was less than impressed with his framing again today. In the conversations I've had with Record 2, both of us have not been impressed. Nito was very sharp with his framing last year. He's off to a slow start this year, to say the least, and, I hope that we see Francisco Alvarez in the lineup, and same thing with Brett Beatty tomorrow. I'd imagine that we will against a tough pitcher in Anthony DeSclafani, who's looked really sharp to start the year for the San Francisco Giants. But no less, finally, let's break down this ballgame because, like I said, there was a lot, and I mean a lot of offense as Brandon Nimmo starts the game with, you guessed it, a base hit. He had hit safely in his last 6 at-bats. What a beauty Brandon Nimmo is. He is living up to that contract and then some, as at the time of recording this, he has a 368 average and just under 1,000 OPS to start the 2023 calendar season. In the bottom of the first, however, because the Mets don't score there in the top, Wade would have walked. JD, not Martinez, but JD Davis, the former Met, had a single. JD Davis is off to a roaring start with the Giants this year. A 328 average, a sub 1,000 OPS, and is in the 90th plus percentile, and that's above average at the third base position. He's finally living up to his potential, playing every day. Happy for JD Davis. He wasn't going to do it here. The Mets gave him more than a leash over a previous 2-year span. So obviously I hate that trade in hindsight, looking back on how one-sided it was. However, I don't hate parting with JD Davis because that was inevitably going to happen. And the fact that it didn't even happen and that offseason leading into the 2022 year was surprising in itself. So JD Davis, happy that you're thriving well. Same thing with Conforto. I'm happy that Conforto didn't hit on the Mets today because we know he inevitably will this series. But nonetheless, no one scores there, so we're through the first inning. As we get to the second, everybody, Pete Alonso would have walked and Jeff McNeil would have walked, and nothing else transpires. Then in the bottom, the second with 1 out, Crawford would have walked, and that's all she wrote. Again, just walks galore between Sean Manaea, who's anything but consistent at this point in his veteran career. The southpaw has not been sharp in a number of years now. Used to be a stud back in the day with the Oakland A's. Even pitched a at least one no-hitter, if not perfect game, if I'm not mistaken. However, Manaea last year with the Padres was absolutely cooked. This year, he's not off to a strong start either. Kind of, not surprising when you look at Manaea. He doesn't have plus stuff at this point in his career right now, unless he gets revitalized by the Giants or potentially if he goes somewhere else that has a pitching lab in the years going forward. But as we get to the third, Kodai Senga with his first 1-2-3 inning of the day. Senga wasn't big with his strikeouts today at all. He had 4 on the day. However, up until that 5th inning in which things went awry, Senga was cruising through 4, as we saw. And one thing that I really want to highlight was just the pitch mix. We're seeing with the sweeper that is looking really, really sharp. We're seeing with the curveball. We're seeing with the splitty, of course, the ghost fork, if you will. But the fastball, which was around 50% of his arsenal tonight, topping out 98. He was even touching 98 on the gun as we were in the 5th inning. So Kodai had a lot of life on his pitches today and was getting some really nice looks. Unfortunately, just got barreled hard there in the 5th inning. But before we get there, it wouldn't be until after the Mets would score a couple runs, thanks to Francisco Lindor getting on base with a hit by pitch, and which is still unfortunate. I'll say that the Mets are close to, if not the league lead, in hit by pitches once again to start a year because they're ball magnets. That's just how it is. Pete Alonso right after says, "How you doing?" 2-run ding dong, his 9th of the year for Big Meat Pete, Polar Bear Pete, Pistol Pete, whatever you want to call him. And just like that's a 2-0 Mets lead. Jeff hits with a hit by pitch that hits him right in the back. I felt bad for Jeff there. That's going to leave a welt, and I was not happy with Manaea in that instance. But afterwards, Eduardo, more like Eduardo Escobar, starting today over Brett Beatty. That lefty-righty matchup benefits him, and Buck actually looks like he made the right decision. I'm not in favor of saying the kids, but if Eddie's going to start, by all means, I want to see him produce. It doesn't matter who's starting for the Mets. If you're starting, I want to see you produce. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I hope Eddie sucks so Beatty gets more playing time. No, Beatty's going to get his opportunities. We know that, but we also know Eddie's going to start mainly against lefties. So when that does happen, at minimum, I want to see him thrive, and he did by pulling a bad boy that just stayed fair, deep, high, and left, and just like that, it is a 4-0 ball game in the Mets' favor. Brandon Nimmo would finish the inning with an opposite field RBI double because he's an absolute beauty. Brandon Nimmo continues to hit, in which he had 3 hits on the day. But as we then get to the 4th inning, guys, the bottom of the 4th rather, with 1 out, Yastrzemski, who had a very nice day at the plate, had 3 base knocks. 3 base knocks, were they all singles? Was one a double? Let me double check. Yeah, they were all singles. Had some good hitting today. Got himself a single. That's all she wrote there. Then in the 5th, this is where Kodai Senga really starts to get worked up quite a bit. Again, he got beat up more than I was anticipating he would. So Sable starts off the inning, catcher for the Giants, with a solo home run, his 3rd of the year. Then Lamont Wade Jr., 1 out. After 1 out, I'm trying to think who that out was. Let me double check on this one as well. It was Wisely who was out. Okay, so Lamont goes Oppo, and again, not a great pitch placement there. It was a 2-0 count. It was down the pipe a little bit towards the right, bottom right, but still caught a lot of plate. I didn't like that location by Kodai, nor did I like that call from Tomas Nido. I did not think that was the right pitch to be thrown there in that situation. No less, it's barreled, it stops the field, and just like that's a 3-1 ball game. So, okay, you know, it's not looking great, but it's not terrible either. Estrada then with a walk. Michael Conforto, be like Mike, baby, with a walk. And look, I hope Mike does terrible in this series, but other than that, I will always praise that man. If you guys are OGs on the channel, then you know that Conforto is literally one of my favorite players. He was my favorite player when he was a Met. His inconsistencies and all. I know that he's a guy that's going to give you around 260 average, give you 25 bombs a year, you know, and he's, you know, was underwhelming in big spots. We're aware of that. I'm not going to sit here and rag on Conforto, but I do hope that he continues to not do too well in this series. But he gets a walk there, and that would be pivotal because it would lead to a run, not before J.D. Davis, however, strikes out. They need 1 more out, and then Yastrzemski with an RBI single right there. Conforto would then score on a wild pitch, just a wacky pitch, and not a good command of the strike zone there by Senga. Nido has no chance of handling it. That isn't his fault. Nido didn't look sharp with his framing today and his play calling, but that was not his fault. And just like that's a 5-4 ball game there in the 5th inning. So you're like, okay, the Mets are up by 5. It's 5-4. Let's not blow this thing. And thankfully, the Mets would respond right away because Jeff McHitz just has a knack for hitting baseballs out of the park in San Fran. Did it last year after a heckler was calling his name, constantly saying, you can't hit a baseball. You can't hit one deep for your life. And then McHitz last year goes McBombs. And today, the same applied. He hits a solo shot towering to right to give the Mets a 2-run lead. It is 6-4. Gourmet with a double. The Mets wouldn't score anymore there in the 6th, but they would have more runs soon to come. In the bottom of the 6th, Brooks Raley comes in with a clean 1-2-3 inning, which is what you like to see. Then as we get to the 7th, Mark Canha with a double to start things off. Lindor with a bloop double because no one was covering second base. So great base running awareness there by Lindor. Really, really sharp day at the plate for Lindor here. And then Alonso again sneaks a single through, makes it a double based on the defensive alignment. Not 1, but 2-run score. Alonso has 4 RBI stakes on the day. Vogel with a walk. McNeil with an opposite field RBI single. First pitch swinging or so. And just like that, the Mets get their 5-run lead back. It's 9-4. Metsies, baby. As we then get to the 8th, John Curtis comes in, allows 1 hit, but that's all she wrote. A scoreless inning there in the 8th. Very nice for John Curtis, who bounced back after getting a little roughed up his last outing or so, in which he was out there. Was against, I think it was against the Dodgers, right? Then as we get to the bottom of the 8th with 1 out, Brandon Nimmo with an opposite field single, because all Nimmo does is hit right now, whether it's pulling the ball, whether it's oppo, or whether it's up the middle. Brandon Nimmo is doing it all on top of some elite defense that we're seeing out the center field position. I don't have to look at his outs above average right now because I guarantee it's in at least the 90th percentile there for center field. He has been damn sharp. In the bottom of the 8th, Drew Flo comes in. Drew Smith, he gives up a single to Yastrzemski, who's hit the ball really, really well for the Giants tonight. But that's all she wrote. And then in the 9th, with 2 outs, Jeff McHitz with the single, his 3rd hit of the day. Eddie right after him, first pitch swinging, pulling the baseball to right. And 2 on with 2 out. The Mets wouldn't score, but it wouldn't matter as they still had a 5-run lead as we get to the bottom of the 9th, with Jet Brigham pitching in 3 games in as many days and gets an easy 1 1-2-3 ninth for the non-save, and Mets again win by a final score of 9-4. And as we go, let's just hop right into it. Let's talk about the player of the game. Drum roll, please. Shouldn't take a rocket scientist to figure this one out. It is Polar Bear Pete. The Mets bats were on fire today. Multiple players in this Mets lineup hit at least 2 hits tonight, but no guy was better than Pete Alonso driving the baseball out of the park and then getting some clutch insurance runs to make sure you get this victory tonight. 2 for 4 with the ding dong, his 9th of the year, MLB leading 9th home run, and 4 RBIs. Pete Alonso is Wardy's player of the game. Guys in the live chat, let me know if you agree if Pete Alonso is deserving of being tonight's player of the game, or if you disagree. Make sure to let me know too. Again, a lot of solid outings offensively from the Mets today, but I gotta give credit where credit's due. Alonso looked like a stud once again. I'm loving this man's at-bats. He's grinding them out, he's barreling baseballs, and he looks like a guy that's taking advantage of the of the pitch clock right now. I really think it is. I think Alonso, and I was talking about this with my buddy Patrick Hennessy, actually on Better's YouTube channel. It was a live stream. We talked about Scherzer and Mets. Make sure to check it out, guys. If you know Better, make sure to check it out. Pat is a great guy, of course, not only from Unhinged Yanks, but also has a podcast with Dan Rourke, I think his last name is, at Yankees Avenue. No less, Pat was bringing up a great point that I actually tend to agree with him, how we all know Alonso's a very mental guy at the plate. And I think with the pitch clock implemented, with having such little time, right, to actually get ready for your at-bats, pitch by pitch, you have very little time to really do anything thinking-wise other than just being locked in constantly. And I really think this has benefited Alonso to start the season. We all know how mental this guy is. He's literally doing reps and locked in like a psychotic, doing his best Bateman impression from American Psycho with his personality when he's doing the home run derby, right? And you see him locked in every single at-bat right now. I really think the pitch clock is actually benefiting him because he has no time to really sit there and overthink things, right? That's the Alonso that we have seen in the past. It feels like he counts himself out and at-bats sometimes too early when you know he just can't pick up a pitch, say a slider down away or a fastball up and in. Alonso's really, really locked in right now, and I think that pitch clock could be a slight factor as to why, along with him just being an elite hitter, one of the best in the game. But guys, Pete Alonso is my player of the game. I hope you guys agree on that front, because when we look at the offense as a whole in today's outing, and again, guys, make sure to smash that like and subscribe on you beauties. Appreciate you all watching live and on replay, as it is almost 1 a.m. Eastern. I'm absolutely shot. I'm going to get out of here in the next 10 to 15 minutes because I need to go to sleep, and that's going to go in hand with tonight's sponsor. If you know, you know. However, let's talk about this offense tonight for the Metropolitans. They have 13 hits, expected batting average of 283. Giants' expected batting average is 292, so they did get a little unlucky today, the Giants. No less, Mets offense continuing to roll, looking sharp if you're not in Clayton Kershaw that the Mets are facing this West Coast trip. Nimmo 3 for 5 today with the RBI stake, and then we have Mark Canha 1 for 5 today. Nice hit by Canha too. That was a double with a run scored. Lindor 1 for 4 with 2 runs scored. Great base running awareness again by Francisco tonight. And I know we got donations, guys. I will get to them soon. Do not worry about it. Thank you all so much in advance for the donos. As always, guys, Alonso, the player of the game that we just discussed. Vogelback, again, 0 for 1 today. Not a problem whatsoever. Jeff McHitz there, 3 for 3 with a 2-run scored. And Vogelback also came in for Tommy Pham, who went 0 for 3 today in DH. So DH production, not non-existent there, but they have been producing in recent games, so I'm not going to harp on much. McHitz, this is the McHitz that we love to see. This is the reigning NL batting champ for a reason. 3 for 3 today with the 2 runs scored, the home run. And did he hit a double today too? No, just the home run. Okay, that was his extra base hit. Eduardo Escobombs, 2 for 5 today. Very solid day at the plate for Eddie. Had himself a single later on in the game as well. That's what I like to see from Eddie. Again, if you're going to start Eddie, I want to see you produce, and he surely did that and had that RBI thanks to the home run. 2 RBIs rather, and a run scored. Elise Gourmet hit for opposite field today, went 1 for 4 with a run scored, a walk, and Tomas Nido non-existent. He's batting a $105 right now, and a 251, not on base percentage, not slugging, but OPS. So yeah, Nito, the bat, it's stinky. It ain't there. And hopefully, with the assumption that Alvarez and Beatty start tomorrow, we will see production from the kids like we did in the Dodgers series a little bit. So I'm excited to see what these kids are going to do. That's for sure. But pitching wise, we went over it, but just to talk about things a little bit further again. Senga, 5 innings, has a 4.29 ERA on the year. You know, I saw schmucks out there, and I'm going to call you schmucks 100%. I saw schmucks out there already calling Kodai Senga nothing more than a reliever, nothing more than an absolute best, a number 5 starter. I mean, this is what I find hilarious, not just about Mets fans, but baseball fans in general, how quick you are to judge someone like Senga, who clearly has the tools, but the whole book about him is his control. You know, this isn't going to happen overnight. This is a guy that literally has gained acclimate in North American baseball for the first time in his life. So I'm not shocked that he's not coming out right away and being the best thing since sliced bread. Give the guy a little bit of a leash. I know that might be hard for you, that you guys just don't know what patience is, but by all means, start to pick it up, because it's kind of pathetic, some of the comments I'm seeing out there about Senga. He's going to be fine. I'm confident in that. Again, looked absolutely sharp through 4. In the 5th, got beat up a little bit, not denying that whatsoever, but to already write him off as a reliever, just, all right, you're the same fans that have no right to talk. Once Senga hopefully goes on and having a strong season, will be considered for the NL Rookie of the Year, and maybe even wins the damn thing, and hopefully he's effective for the Mets in the years going forward. So with the assumption that Senga goes and does those things, I don't want to hear jack from the fans that are already writing him off. It's nonsense. It's the same fans that said that Lindor was never going to produce in New York. Like, get a grip, please, for 1 second. Curtis, no less, had himself that scoreless inning in the 8th. Drew Smith, very solid. Raley, very solid. And Brigham is really impressing me. Really impressing me with Jeff Brigham. To come out, to get called up right away, and to have back-to-back nights pitching in L.A. and then San Fran. And just looking like a stud every single time, gain those outs. Loving that horizontal movement on that slider, too. Jeff Brigham, who I know my boy James Schiano, co-host of the Mets Up podcast with Giraffe and Mark, is a big advocate of, was a big fan of his in spring, and thought he was deserving of making the team. And Brigham, of course, started the year on a quick IL stint in AAA, then came back, and now he's with the team. But yeah, very happy with what I've seen from Jeff Brigham, and hopefully we see more of that in the days and weeks to come on this Mets team. But now let's get to some donations, shall we? I really appreciate it. Again, thank you guys all so much for being here. On a real side note, why are a good portion of Mets fans so impatient? Just because, I mean, let's be realistic. Mets have not had much success in a very long time. So I can understand being impatient a little bit, but I think it's just frustrating when you're doing that towards guys that, like, you just shouldn't be acting that way with. Like, there's no reason to act that way, and yet we're acting that way. It's not like Senga costed the Mets the game or anything as well. Like, thankfully, the Mets offense has been great. And keep in mind, the Mets rotation wasn't sharp in L.A., you know? Wasn't sharp at all. This entire West Coast trip, this Mets rotation has not been star-studded by any stretch, but the offense is just stepping the F up, and the bullpen eating innings constantly. I mean, you really can't ask for much more aside from the rotation getting short up, and it's not going to be short up just yet because, you know, they still got to deal with the issue of not having Scherzer and being down a rotation spot for the next, not including tonight now, the next 9 games. So it's frustrating. I'm aware of that. However, give credit where credit's due. This offense is stepping up. The bullpen, whether they're names that you know or don't know, are all stepping up. They're all getting their job done. So hopefully the Mets can come out of here and win 3 out of 4 in San Fran and wrap things up with an 8-2 road trip. I mean, I predicted on SNY that I thought the Mets would go 5-5, being ultra conservative, just basing that off of last year's West Coast trip in June. And I'm so happy to be proven wrong. I'd rather be proven wrong so I'm not coming off as a jinx or a homer for this Mets team than be overly optimistic sometimes. So I'm really happy that the Mets are already 6-1 through the first 7. I mean, who would have thought that? If you guys truly thought that heading into it, then I commend you, because I was not one of them, at least not to that degree. Are the Lindorks and Alonso haters dead yet? I mean, pardon my French, how in God's name could you be an Alonso hater? Like, if you're an active Mets fan and shit or rag on Alonso, you don't deserve to be a Mets fan. Where would the Mets be without Alonso offensively since he came into the league? Please enlighten me. He's not only the best home run hitter in baseball since entering the league in 2019, but he is one of the most consistent overall bats out there in the game right now, and he's right in the prime of his career, and he's going to have a long prime. Oh, yes, you bet that right. So, yeah, any Mets fans that actively shit on Alonso, you're just a troll, and you don't deserve happiness. Simple as that. Same applies with Lindor. Imagine ragging on Lindor when he's one of the best shortstops, if not the best shortstop in baseball. I mean, people are insufferable. And to them, let them live their miserable lives because it doesn't impact me in the slightest. That's for sure. That's why I got the smile on my face. Davis, thank you so much for the $5 haul. He says, Nimmo's on fire in Cali, and I miss Conforto. I miss Mike, too. Don't get me wrong. I think Michael Conforto on the DH spot by the trade deadline. How you doing? Maybe. I don't know. I'm biasly saying that, obviously, because I'm a huge Michael Conforto guy, regardless of how inconsistent he is at times. He would be a perfect fit as DH. Oh, I didn't even see your comment there, Davis. I agree. He would give you that pop. He would definitely be an upgrade over Vogelbach from the home run aspect. But again, we'll see. Hopefully the Giants are well out of a playoff position where they're sellers at the trade deadline. Because I would... If it's in the cards and Conforto would have interest in returning, I would not be against that at all. I really would not be. But again, that's my biased opinion on Conforto while saying that. Done. James, thank you so much for a donation. He says, so McNeil didn't taste good enough in your mouth to be number one tonight. James, do not bring me into this taste good in my mouth shit. That's Joe's little thing. All right, we're not... Don't compare the two. All right, you bring that up to Joe, not me. Okay? James, also shout out to you. I think I saw you tweet at me earlier about the the Wikipedia of Phil Cuzzy with the schmuck graphic that I made yesterday for him. If so, that's hilarious. And once more, just because why not? If you missed yesterday's show, let's just say one more. Phil Cuzzy, I want to say the worst things. I do. But he was the schmuck of the game. He's the schmuck of the game every day until Max returns from his suspension. So, Phil Cuzzy, you're living rent-free in my head. That is correct. Because you're a schmuck, and I'm annoyed. And that's the last that I'll say tonight on the Phil Cuzzy situation. But going back now, GD, thank you for a $2 donation, says, realistically, who's going to take NL West? It's tough. I mean, I predicted the Padres taking the NL West, and I'll stand by that. I think Tatis returning with them tonight is massive for them this season. I think they're going to short up rotation. I think that they will seek some external options by the trade deadline. I think the Padres are easily the most talented team in that division. I really do. And I think that they will go on a run, especially in the second half. D-backs are no joke, though. I predicted that the D-backs would at minimum go 500 this year. And they're playing some strong baseball. They have a nice youth movement going on there. And Dodgers, I think Dodgers will finish second in the division. I think they're going to have another easy 90 to 95 one year. Inconsistencies and all. Lack of experience and all. Dodgers are still going to look great. I mean, Outman is already replacing Cody Bellinger like without a problem. So you know how good that prospect pool has been for years, and it's not stopping anytime soon. A says, am I excited about the Mets playing baseball in Vegas? When it happens years from now, yeah, for sure. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time when they had the Vegas, what was it? Was it the 67s? What was their name? Well, was it the 67s? The alien logo? Why am I blanking on what their... Was it the Las Vegas 67s? I want to say that was their name when they were in AAA. Rick played on that team. I feel like I should know that, right? It's been a minute because I remember when they were in Vegas for a while, and I always said, why in God's name were the Mets AAA team is all the way in Vegas? It made absolutely no sense. 51s, thank you. Not 67s. 51s. The Vegas 51s, that sounds about accurate. I think I'm thinking of 67s because there is a junior hockey team in Canada named the 67s, and I think they're the Ottawa 67s, if I'm not mistaken. Hockey fans, if you know, you know. But yeah, 51s. Thank you. Appreciate that. Darren, best Mets fan you'll ever meet from the UK's chiming in. Hope you're doing well, brother. I know it's early morning for you, but I appreciate you chiming in. We are going to be wrapping things up in just a couple minutes, but I'm happy to have you in here. Big night, big W for the Mets. Again, they got the offense, and that's always the most important thing, right? I'm always happy to see this Mets offense thrive and produce that way that we saw, and hopefully that continues as an Area 51. Yes, that makes so much more sense, and I'm just a schmuck for not realizing that sooner. Thank you. I appreciate that. But more than anything, guys, Mets fans, before I get out of here, again, continue smashing that like and subscribe button. Dave, my absolute brother, my beauty, my good friend, I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for chiming in late night here because I know you're on the East Coast, brother. Happy to have you on here, Dave Kaplowitz. My last question, you guys, before I get out of here for the night, and again, make sure to let me know your thoughts in the comments on replay. Same thing you guys apply, because I know a lot of you guys are going to be watching on replay because, many rational fans are not out here to be up late the way that I am. But I want to know, how many games do you think the Mets are going to win out of this series out of the 4? They've already won 1. So what is your series prediction for the remainder of the series? Let me know. It's embarrassing because he can't talk publicly like players have to. I agreed. Let's see. McHits me, baby, one more time. I love that, Ed. Thank you so much for the donation. That's great. And yes, for those that are wondering, Joey Fuego is making his season debut, the first time he's pitching this Mets rotation since 2021. Then he suffered Tommy John surgery, was out like all last year, got rammed up for a while. Joey, shout out to his mama Michelle, who's a great supporter of mine. Love her. Follow her on Twitter. Great follow. She's excited, I'm sure. I'm excited for the Lucchese family. I'm hoping that Joey can just give the Mets 4 to 5 solid innings. You know, I'm not asking for anything crazy. Give the Mets 4 or 5 solid innings of 2-3 run ball. You know, and that should be sufficient enough for them should they continue with the offense that they've had. Albeit, I understand that Anthony DeSclafani, who they're facing tomorrow, has had a very nice start to the year, around a 1.62 ERA. DeSclafani is hittable, however, just like most pitchers in the league. So I'm confident in the Mets' abilities to hopefully barrel some baseballs tomorrow night. But no less, I also want to let you guys know that there is no guarantee that I'll be live tomorrow night. You know, I'm going to be having a fairly busy weekend, so don't be shocked if you see at least 2 out of the 4-game series in which I'm not going live, but maybe I'm doing a post-game recap depending on the result of the game, in which I record myself, and I always keep my little mini like lapel mics on me no matter where I am, so makes it a little bit better than just using my my phone with the microphone on there. So keep an eye out. Not 100% certain if I'll be going live tomorrow, but I'll still be trying my best to roll out some content over the weekend, even if it's quick hitter videos, win or lose. So be on the lookout for that. And then Sunday Night Baseball, we will, of course, be covering more than likely. And then the podcast will be out early Monday, like how it was today, probably, if I'm not mistaken. But I like the predictions that you guys got going on here. A lot of 3-1s, and I'm hoping. You know, even a split, you know, I wouldn't be pissed off by it, but I'm definitely hoping for the series win with the way that things have started, at least. Let's see. I do see one comment in here before we get out of here. Yeah, Marte might play tomorrow. We don't know for certain because he's dealing with that neck stiffness, which he's day from when he slid into Gene Segura at third base in the Mets homestand like a week ago, in which I was in attendance for the home opener there. So he hasn't been 100% since then, rightfully so. He slid really awkwardly into like Segura's leg or whatever, but no less, we'll be keeping an eye on Marte and on that front. But let me check something quick. I'm also noticing, and I had this issue before that really annoys me. For whatever reason, sometimes the stat bar down there just decides not to like do what it's supposed to be doing. So bear with me. Like, yeah, the Red Sox Twins bar should be moving. Like, why isn't it moving? Hold on. Everybody in the live chat, quick question. Have you seen the stat bar move at all from Twins and Red Sox? Or has it been just Twins and Red Sox the entire time? I feel like it's been Twins and Red Sox the entire time, which is something that I've noticed sometimes in my software. So like, I'm going to dabble with it really quick, and then we'll get out of here. This is just me doing this for me. Oh, wait, it moved. Never mind. I just felt like it held it too long. Maybe it held along because there were a lot of runs in that game. One thing, Tyler, is your stare segment retired. I really enjoy that. I know. We got to bring the Wardy stare segment back. I feel like we got to bring the segment back in general. Like that. Like, I think we just need to start bringing the Wardy stare back at random points. Maybe we should just start doing it, like, mid-stream, randomly. Like, I don't know. Like, that'd be fine. Just mid-stream. You know? Like, nonchalant, like, as I'm breaking down the ball game, like, halfway through, I'm just... And everyone just thinks that I froze or something. The intro music, I know I got to bring the intro back. I will get that back at some point for you guys, but... Yeah, we'll do the stare again. Okay, that freaked me out. Yeah, exactly. If you know, you know when it comes to the Warriors stare, because I haven't had the need to cut the streams shorter. When we do longer shows when I have callers on and stuff, that's when I'll be doing that. Do you do a live feed during game? I don't know what you mean by that, Kev. What about the intro music? I'm going to try bring the intro music back. I just haven't gone around to it yet, honestly. But before I get out of here, guys, because this is the most important thing of the night, if I'm being honest with you, in my opinion, it's the most important thing of the night. And that is tonight's sponsor, which is a sponsor that you're going to see reoccurring on the channel a lot that I'm very grateful for. And that is Manta Sleep. We talked a lot about Manta Sleep, but in a nutshell, Manta Sleep is the best sleep masks on the market that you can find out there. They are not only affordable, they are not only comfortable, but they have all your sleep needs. And as someone that was never an advocate of using a sleep mask before, until this bad boy, the Sleep Mask Pro, came into my possession a couple weeks ago, when I tell you that this has been working wonders on me, especially covering what has been always a brutal West Coast trip here on the East Coast, doing post-game shows every single night when games are starting at 9:45 to 10 p.m. Eastern time. These come in handy huge because I usually do not get a good sleep if I'm up too late. So this bad boy, I slip it on as I'm about to show you, and I am sleeping like a beauty. And all you got to do, guys, is go on the site, use my promo code WARDY for 10% off your purchase. And when I tell you that this will work wonders, if you struggle with sleep like me, this is what you need. So again, make sure to check out Manta Sleep. They do wonders. That's how the hair looks when you wake up per usual. But to talk just briefly about them, guys, they have every sleep mask imaginable. They got the sound mask. You can play Bluetooth music when you're sleeping, and it's comfortable. You can roll around. I mean, how can you not enjoy that? The silk mask, the sleep mask normal, the pro mask, which is what I have. Then they even have other sleep masks, guys, that literally have coolant in them, dude. You can literally have a kid's mask. They have a Manta steam mask, which heats up. You can heat it up and have steam around your eyes. You can have the Manta cool mask if you want to cool. You can even have a weighted mask on your face. They literally have every sleep mask on the planet, and I cannot begin to emphasize enough how much I enjoy this. This is from someone that does not usually enjoy sleep masks at all. I've been using it almost every single night for the past 2 weeks and has helped me tremendously. Make sure to check them out and use my promo code WARDY for 10% off your purchase. Again, that is going to be Manta Sleep. Make sure to check them out. Link is in the description down below, as always, and shout them out once more for being a great supporter here on the channel. I can't say enough good things about them. And another thing that I love about them, if you're going on flights and you're just trying to really ignore everything, if you want to get good sleep, put on the bad boy. Get the Bluetooth one, especially if you want to get away from everyone and not even feel like you're on an airplane besides maybe some turbulence. Throw on the sound mask. It will do you wonders. Shout out to Manta Sleep once again for being a great sponsor, great partner on the channel. But with that being said, guys, that's going to wrap up the show. You boys got to get some shut-eye. I'm going to pop on the mask now. We're going to put it on top of the head. We're going to get ready. This is what I do. I actually hold it on my head like this as I'm getting ready for bed, and then I slip it down. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. The Mets win by a final score of 9-4. We'll be back out tomorrow, maybe with a live stream, maybe with a post-game recap, maybe nothing. I don't know. You'll have to wait and see. Busy weekend on Wardy's End, but you know we're covering the games every single day during the week per usual, and stay tuned for more great content. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Everyone in the live chat, you were absolute beauties. People on replay, the same applies. Let me know your biggest takeaway from tonight's 9-4 victory in the comments below. And this is your boy Wardy signing out. Have a great one, folks.